Joining us now, it's become somewhat of an annual tradition. We've done it at least last year.
And
3 years,
yeah,
and
3
you
years,
haven't.
I haven't left.
You haven't left
I
yet.
keep coming
Joe
back.
Hortiz, general manager of the Los Angeles Chargers. Joe, great to see you.
Great seeing you.
Happy 50th. I saw
Thank
that you turned 50
yeah,
last year.
I did turn
I'm
50.
60, so I envy you.
Yeah, it was fun. Nice little quiet family weekend before we played the Steelers. So it was a good weekend overall.
Did you have like a list of things I want to do by the time I turn 50?
No, I never really did that. And then whatever I did, if I did have a list, I probably made it when I was 20-something and realized there's no way in hell I'm jumping out of an airplane or, So, no, just try to have fun, man.
Like some of the things when you turn 30, those are gone.
Yeah,
when you turn 40, those are gone.
Right.
Forget about that. Forget about that.
Buy a boat, now I haven't done that yet. My father-in-law keeps telling me they're nothing but a money pit, so.
Yeah, what do they say? The happiest day in a man's life is when he buys a boat, and the second happiest day is when he sells it, or vice versa.
I think it's vice versa.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's funnier if it's that way.
Yeah.
So I know I'd screw it up. I was thinking the best way to frame this, we're doing this on Tuesday.
Yeah.
The State of the Union address is tonight. I know you football guys don't pay attention to the rest of the world, but just so you know, the president's talking to the Congress tonight.
Yeah.
Give me the State of the Union of the Chargers right now.
We're in an upward trajectory. I think back-to-back playoff years, it's something to be proud of, but we're not happy. We're not done, and we're still building. Added Mike as offensive coordinator and able to get Chris O'Leary back. Feel confident where we are in terms of coaching, and you have this draft and free agency a chance to really add to the roster and build and really chase what we're really after, which is the Super Bowl.
You mentioned Mike McDaniel, the former Dolphins coach, who's now the offensive coordinator, replacing Greg Roman. That had to be a tough move for Jim Harbaugh because he seems like a guy whose core identity is loyalty.
100%.
And to have to make that change, are you involved in those conversations that result in that change?
We had some conversations, yes, but ultimately, Coach felt like it was a move we had to make, and it's tough because I was with Greg for a long time in Baltimore on 2 separate occasions, and then linking up with him here, and he's a great friend, and his family and my family, great friends, and tough decision to make, but in the end, you got to do what you feel is best for the team, and that's where Coach felt we needed to head, and support him wholeheartedly, and really excited to get Mike on board.
Well, and this is where you try to reconcile upward trajectory with the need to change offensive coordinator. Help me understand how those two fit, if they do.
Yeah, I think you look at what we are and what we have and the quarterback we have, and you get an opportunity to grow the offense in a different direction, and in a direction we feel like would help accentuate Justin and what we have on board already, and that's the move you make.
And this may be a better question for Harbaugh, but he's not here.
Yeah.
You got the short straw. How does this Mike McDaniel system mesh with Justin Herbert and the personnel? Is it the McDaniel system that we saw in Miami with all the Harlem Globetrotter stuff behind the line? Is he going to be doing all that, or is it going to be tailored to personnel, Jim Harbaugh, Justin Herbert?
The latter, I think. What I mean by that is, through the interview process of the OC in our OC search, Mike talked about this is why we did this in Miami, because this is the personnel we had. Mike is a coach that will literally create his scheme, create his offense based around the players we have, and it's not that you go out and find this specific player. So I think his flexibility as an offense coordinator and play caller is what makes one of the things that makes him great, and just knowing the offense, I think Justin's gonna take off in it.
One of the things about Combine Week that's frustrating, there are certain players who are due to become free agents that I'm not going to ask you about because you can't talk about them, and I never want to get anyone in a tampering jackpot, as my dad would call it. I still don't understand that because I thought a jackpot was a good thing, but my dad was always, you don't want to get in a jackpot. So I don't want to get you in a jackpot, but Tyreek Hill's a free agent.
Yeah.
He's available.
Yeah.
And Mike McDaniel's there.
Yeah.
It's an obvious connection.
Sure.
Are you guys in the mix for Tyreek Hill?
Those are things we'll talk about next week. We get together with all the guys in free
He may be
agency.
gone by next week.
He might be.
You're not worried about that?
No, we have. Listen, I love our receiver room as is right now. I think we have a lot of really talented young players that are really going to continue to grow and flourish, and but we're never opposed to adding another one. So we'll continue to have discussions about that and see where it heads.
Where's the biggest way that you think Justin Herbert can can improve as he goes into year 7?
Yeah, I just think if he keeps doing him, he's just going to keep improving because you see an improvement every year. His work ethic and the effort and everything he puts into it, he just continues to get better and better. And really excited for what he's going to look like in this scheme. I've seen this scheme in action to a degree in Baltimore when we had Gary Kubiak, and I saw Joe Flacco have arguably his best year with Gary, and just really excited for Justin and Mike to link up and see what happens.
How does the organization manage the narratives, the burden, the reality that there's no playoff wins in 6 seasons? There's a lot of noise, and I know, well, you shut out the noise. Well, sometimes it takes effort. What do you guys do to get Justin Herbert focused on task at hand, kicking ass, trying to get to the next level, and ignore as it builds up year after year? It's kind of like a lesser version of what's going on with Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen.
Yeah.
But there's a next level that he hasn't gotten to yet. How do you manage that pressure while also giving him a nudge to get to where you want him to be?
Yeah, I think I think that comes with the position. You mentioned Josh and Lamar, and I think Peyton went through it for a while, and a lot of great ones have gone through it. You just keep supporting the player. One, Justin, the preparation, all of the things that are required to be ready to play a game, he's gonna do. That's just the way he's wired. But our job is just to support him with trying to make the team as great as it can be, and have him ready to go, and it's going to happen. I know that. What's
your top priority for improving the roster this offseason?
I think, when we got here 2 years ago, it was all add depth. We'll focus on the offensive line because it is a scheme change, and we'll have to get guys to fit the scheme a little bit more, and then but then really it still stays with depth. The more depth you have, and I think you saw it last year, we dealt with a lot of injuries, and we're still able to make the playoffs, and you got to have competent backups and guys that can go in and help you win football games. So we're always going to try to make the roster as strong as possible and continue to do that through free agency, through the draft, and then post-draft.
The running back position becomes more and more fascinating all the time. We see the superstars that get the big contracts. We see certain guys get drafted in round 1 like Omari and Hampton did last year. And then you got a bunch of guys that are just kind of out there, and you can see a Javonte Williams get a low contract and get 1,200 yards. Rico Dowdle have a big year. Help me understand where, as a general manager, you see this running back market. Are there tiers? How should we look at it? And is it devalued, as some of the players would say?
Yeah, I'd say it's obviously when a team pays a player in the upper echelon, they value that player tremendously, and it's what the individual teams, a lot of those guys don't get to free agency, and so Javonte, and he signed his deal, and he was close to free agency. He made it, a choice to sign a deal and felt good about it. So I think it's what the players feel that's good for them, and the teams feel it's a win-win on both sides. In terms of depth, it's like every position out there. There's different needs, different types of players, and I think you find the players that fit your scheme, and if you value them, you pay them.
Is it as simple as the supply outweighs the demand, and every year there's a significant number of guys coming out of college into the draft who can be gotten for a relatively low contract? Let's just do that. Have a guy who plays special teams, runs the ball. Let's do that. Let him grow. Let him develop instead of investing in a veteran.
Yeah, because the positions up front, running backs, they're touching the ball 20 times a game. I think the same could be said about offensive linemen and defensive linemen. There's edge rushers this year. It's a good draft for edge rushers. Teams have to make a decision: are we going to pay an edge, or are we going to go in the draft? So I think every year that's the beauty of the draft. Every year it gives us an influx of players at multiple spots. I think it gets magnified because the running back spot, just the fact it's on center stage, maybe second most behind quarterback, it gets magnified a little.
Last question for you, and then I'll let you go, and we appreciate some of your time. Give me one thing that needs to go your way in 2026 for the Chargers to get to where they want to be. One thing.
A little bit of injury luck. I'd say we got beat up pretty bad last year, and I think if we can stay healthy, like I said, continue to add depth to this team this year and stay healthy, I think it can really help us.
I said last question. I got one more. You don't have an electrical substation next to you, so you can't blame that for the injuries. But where is it luck, and where is it like we need to take a look at what we're doing? Where's that line?
It's probably on the nature of the injuries. You know, if you've got an inordinate amount of soft tissue injuries, you know, maybe you're doing something wrong. Ours was not that. So, you know, I'd say it's the nature of the injuries where you have to start looking at what you're doing. But ours was
luck.
Yeah, ours
or
was
lack of luck.
Yeah, lack of luck.
Well, good luck.
Thank you. Appreciate it,
Joe
Mike.
Hortiz. We'll have plenty more from the Combine. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.